I'm sure that most of you have heard the saying that all roads lead to Rome. But have you heard that almost all United flights lead to one of their 7 hubs? Pretty much every traveler will need to visit one of these airports during their travels, and if they don't, they probably live in Cleveland. United operates a select few routes out of the airport that don't send travelers to Newark or O'Scare. These routes primarily fly to leisure destinations in Florida and even Mexico. But why do these routes exist? Let's get started. Back before the merger, Continental Airlines operated a massive hub out of CLE, where the airline flew to 100 destinations and saw about 300 departures each day at the hub's peak in 2008. However, times have changed since then. Continental merged with United, and they inherited the Cleveland hub. The problem was that United already had a massive hub in Chicago O'Hare, only a few hundred miles away, that was much better for both connecting and origin and destination traffic, as well as tormenting travelers. Because of this, in 2014, they shut down the hub and began cutting routes. Even though the airport wasn't great for connecting traffic, the city still carries high leisure demand, which is why the airline still serves a handful of routes to high-demand leisure destinations. They even announced new routes to Miami and Las Vegas from the city for the summer of 2026. While these routes are primarily intended for leisure travelers based in Cleveland, United does sell connecting itineraries to the city for idiots like myself, which is exactly what I did when traveling from Newark to Fort Lauderdale recently. I just arrived in from Newark on a 737 MAX 8, and I'll be connecting onto Fort Lauderdale in first class on board their Boeing 737-900. Since my inbound flight was delayed a bit, I was a bit worried about making my connection as we taxied into the gate. I only had 52 minutes scheduled, which is fine in an airport like Cleveland, but it's still not great. Thankfully, I had nothing to worry about, as some of the same crew members were on my next flight and we needed to wait for them to board, and I only had to walk to the next gate over anyways. I didn't quite have enough time to visit the United Club, but it wouldn't have mattered if I did, because domestic first-class tickets here in the United States don't give you lounge access unless you're on Alaska Airlines on certain flights. November 69819 will be my ride to Fort Lauderdale today. A 12-year-old Boeing 737-900ER delivered brand new to United Airlines in March of 2014. We began boarding a bit behind schedule, and first-class customers get to board with Group 1. Don't get too excited, though, as Premier Gold and Platinum members also get the privilege in addition to Star Alliance Gold members, and the line can get long fast. I recommend lining up at least 10 minutes before boarding to secure a prime spot. Entering the first-class cabin on this aircraft is like stepping back to 2011. The Boeing Sky interior makes the cabin look fresh as always, but it's dragged back by the seats since the seat model has not been changed since the Continental days. I'll be seated in 5F for this 2-hour and 21-minute flight. These seats feature an adjustable headrest, but the vertical adjustment on mine wouldn't stay up. There's also a drink tray, and that's about it. This aircraft was delivered when United was in their "everybody has a phone" era, so there's no seatback screens to be found throughout the entire aircraft. I found these seats to be rather hard, which was unfortunate, and their recline wasn't great for first class. A pre-departure beverage wasn't served, which was okay because this flight was running late. The lead flight attendant greeted everyone with a smile when they boarded and seemed to genuinely love her job. We pushed back 18 minutes late, and here's our departure from runway 24 left. This aircraft was equipped with United's newest Starlink Wi-Fi, which is quote-unquote free for all Mileage Plus members. Note that if you're not a member, you're not going online. The Wi-Fi is ludicrously fast, and I had no trouble streaming YouTube throughout the flight. There was also a large selection of movies and TV shows available, as well as a 3D moving map available. Unlike some airlines I know, American. Service began about halfway through the flight with hot towels and warm nuts. I was able to pre-order my main course 5 days before departure through the United app, with several pre-order exclusive items available. I chose the grilled chicken breast, which was absolutely incredible. It tasted amazing, and the presentation was great as well. There's 114 economy seats and 45 economy plus seats in the economy cabin, all of which are Collins Aerospace Pinnacle seats. The lavatory was small, but it was fairly clean. As we descend into Fort Lauderdale, what are my thoughts on this flight? Well, United's old seats are not comfortable for long flights, and I really hope they did something to change this when they refurbish the seats for the next retrofits. The crew were great and the food was amazing, but the fact that this flight had the old interior made it significantly less enjoyable than it would have been with the next cabin. The good news is that United is picking up the pace with these retrofits, and soon these old cabins will be a thing of the past. The new cabins look way nicer, and the addition of seatback screens and Bluetooth does not go unnoticed by passengers. The Starlink Wi-Fi was awesome, and I'm glad United is installing it across its fleet, rather than just making their old, slow Wi-Fi free instead. Overall, this was an enjoyable flight, and while I would try to avoid this specific seat model in the future due to a lack of padding, I definitely think that United First is a competitive product in the U.S. domestic first-class landscape and would absolutely fly it again. Here's our landing on runway 10 left in Fort Lauderdale. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing if you liked the video, and have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.